Thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Lifting Podcast About Nothing. This is episode 329. Had to do a quick spot check to make sure I knew that number. Usually I forget it every week now. So it is, in fact, 329. Recorded again from our favorite place on earth, western, northeast, South Dakota. There's no place like home. My name's Tanner.
And my name is Tommy.
There is no place like home, is there?
There is no place like it.
That's what Dorothy said in The Wizard of Oz. I do hold in my hand winners of the Drink Spot or Trick Shot Challenge, but first, I'm going to put something else
But first,
in
we have
hand.
like 15 things we got to get to. So
but first,
hopefully today,
many other things.
Hopefully tonight we can squeeze that in.
Juggernaut AI. Come with me for this ad if you want to lift. I need your clothes, your boots, and your individual weak points on the major lifts. Juggernaut AI, totally individualized training so it can be used by everyone from beginner to advanced lifters. Volume, frequency, exercise for weak points, phase potentiation, and periodization strategy all can customize just for you. You can pick the date for your meet or whatever testing day you want out in the future, how many days per week you want to train, and several other individual characteristics about you and your lifts. The training is continually adapting to your feedback. The changes can happen as frequently and as quickly as your next set every day. Find out more and get signed up at juggernautai.app. Just go to your app store on your phone, on your iPhone or your Android phone, whatever you call it, and look up Juggernaut AI and you'll find it.
I was just looking. I had a nice little squat PR yesterday with Juggernaut.
I was there, right?
You were there, and tomorrow got another RP 10 bench day coming up. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling good about it, too.
Your squat went really good, too,
Squat
right?
went great.
The future has not been written, but your Juggernaut AI discount code has been. It's Massenomics, Massenomics, and that'll save you 10%. And I would say once you get signed up, if you've got more questions, there's a few different avenues. You can submit questions right through the app, or a useful resource is the Juggernaut Facebook group. A lot of people use that. Or alternative method, join the Massenomics Discord community, and we've got people talking about their training, all kinds of training all the time, but specifically quite a bit of Juggernaut AI training. There's several people in our community, in our supporting membership Discord crew that use Juggernaut AI training. So great resource there. You know what another awesome resource is? Plates from the Strength Co. Oh. They're one of my favorite resources. I've got so many pages, I don't know what, like a juggling act over here.
Over there.
Yeah, so many rundowns. I almost forgot to finish this rundown. But the Strength Co. plates, right now, speaking of the Strength Co. and Grant Brogy, he is sitting in Mexico right now, I think, celebrating a honeymoon because he just got hitched.
Is that
to
where
Big
he went? I didn't know if they left the country, huh?
I think they are. I think they're in
said, you're married
Mexico.
now. Get out of here.
And he said, me and my wife went down to Mexico to celebrate. And you can help them celebrate by ordering a bunch of Strength Co. plates while they're gone on their honeymoon. And then when he gets back, they're going to have all these orders to fulfill. And I can't think of a better present. Yeah, I can't think of anything he'd like better than you buying several sets of mini sizes of Strength Co. plates. So check them out at thestrengthco.com. Thank you, The Strength Co. And congrats again on the wedding. Not sure, did you get your invite? Like,
I probably lost in the mail.
I apparently lost mine in the mail too.
Yeah.
I was planning on making the trip to California for it, but I guess just had to settle for the live stream.
Let them hear about this the next time we see them.
Yeah. So there's a couple of our sponsors that we wanted to talk about today. And like I did allude to just a bit ago, we do have the results.
I still don't know if people are ready for that.
I don't know if people are ready.
Maybe we should wait a while. Did you watch the new Nathan Fielder show yet?
No, I haven't seen that. So is that on what, HBO?
It's on HBO.
Okay. And I do have that, so I can watch it.
I would recommend it. If you like any of his stuff before, it's 100% in that same vein. It's just like a continuation of Nathan for you to an extent. But what I would say, whereas Nathan, for you, he'd come to businesses with these business plans that were like ill-intentioned almost. Like, they were just like, they might work, but they worked for all the wrong reasons. What I would compare this to is the last episode of Nathan for You. Remember, he's trying to help the Bill Gates impersonator find his love of his life. And he's actually kind of helping him. And then along the way, they have some antics.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That's more what I would say this is. He's actually trying to help people.
He brings the Bill Gates impersonator back from like...
he's in multiple episodes. Yeah. That last one is Finding Francis. And he wants to find his love from like when he was like 16 years old. And they go on this... It's like an hour-long episode. They go all over the country looking for this person.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing episode. It's great, but this is along that same line where someone has an actual problem and he builds. So I'm not going to go too far into it, but I'll give you a quick idea here.
Paint a little picture.
I'll paint a little picture. This guy, he wants to tell some of his friends that he told a lie at one point, and he's afraid. He's been friends with these people forever.
Sure.
And he's afraid that one of the people specifically will have a big problem with him lying to them.
Okay.
And he doesn't know how to break it to them. So they decide that, we're going to train you so you can tell this person this lie. And they decide they're going to do it at the spot where they play bar trivia together. So what he does, it's so insane. They build 100% replica of this bar, like inside a warehouse. Like it is all of the exact same decorations, the exact same tables. Everything is exactly the same. And they have
just to rehearse,
and they just rehearse it every day.
Does the person realize that this is insane? Like, do they know who Nathan Fielder is? Or?
This guy didn't. And the funny thing is this guy's like into trivia, specializing in TV. And Nathan's like, but you're not familiar with me? He's like, no, I'll have to look into you. And so like it goes on. But then even Nathan he explains this right away in the very beginning. He's like, we're having a pretty good conversation right now, aren't we? And the guy's like, yeah, sure. And he goes, well, I have a confession. I'm not a very good people person, but I've rehearsed this like hundreds of times. And he goes, remember when you had a gas leak in your apartment like 2 months ago and you had to evacuate? And the guy's like, yeah. He's like, you didn't have a gas leak. I actually sent my team in and they laser scanned his entire apartment and rebuilt it so Nathan could practice.
So he did
so he did the same thing.
That
He's
is
like
insane.
To show that, yes.
So did he really do that?
He did. So it shows him doing it. And then he hires an actor to be the guy he's going to talk to. And they go through everything.
So it's like Inception
it
almost.
It is like Inception. And it's so over the top. And the whole time they're doing this, Nathan has this flow chart of, all right, if you say yes here, here's the 12 things that can happen.
Yeah.
And they practice it nonstop. And I mean, it is as ridiculous as it sounds.
And then they go through the execution of actually.
The execution. And then at the end of the thing, it actually happens. And it's pretty amazing watching the whole thing go down. So yeah, it's so over the top.
Spoiler alert.
Well, no, that's not a spoiler alert. He said that's what we're going to do. We're going to have you go through with it. So it's amazing, and I would highly recommend it to anyone that's a fan of Nathan Fielder stuff.
I like the sounds of that.
Yeah.
So we did have our drink spotter trick shot contest. It wrapped up this last week. We did about a week's worth of entries. Got a lot of good entries in, of course, just like every Massenomics contest that's ever existed. And picking winners, just like always, is not easy. But we have developed this format of picking winners over the last
pretty complex algorithm.
Yes,
it's almost sorts itself out.
Right. So, like, if you get mad about the winners, don't blame us. Blame the algorithm.
We're not in control anymore.
Right. And we have selected winners. There is one grand prize winner, and then we're going to today have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 runners up. So the grand prize winner, of course, wins the 24 karat gold plated drink spotter.
Actual real 24
gold.
karat gold. We're not lying about that part.
I love gold. And then the runners up win the drink spotter caution sign. Please keep drinks spotted in this area. That metal drink spotter sign that every gym should have. If you have a drink spotter, you should have one of those signs. And though if you didn't win, you're in luck. We sell those.
They're in stock.
Yeah, you could buy one.
Ready to ship to you, hang in your gym.
It might cost more than the winning one, but you could still have one. Yeah. So that's really everyone wins then, especially us.
But basically, if you go buy one, you automatically become a runner-up. So
we couldn't pick everyone as a winner, or else we wouldn't be able to sell any of these to anyone.
It's
and that would be a problem.
Kind of a catch-22, I think is what they say.
And so any just general comments, like before we get into the winners, like any general comments that you have on the trick shot contest or anything like that? I mean, there was a lot of submissions for us to go through.
There was a lot of submissions to go through. There was some creativity that was really pushed in a few of these.
Yes.
I mean, all of them had a certain level of creativity. Some of them had a pretty high level of it in there.
Yes.
We saw a pretty wide variety of things go on.
A very wide variety, like not a lot of like repeat things.
Yeah, we didn't really know what to expect with this one. We had no idea what type of things we were going to get. So, like always, we're always, even after doing 5 contests now, 6 contests. I'm not sure how many we've done.
Right. I think there's like 6. Yeah.
Yeah. You're still always surprised with the things that people come up with.
I would say going into it, we ended up with more edited, people making things appear that they were a trick shot that I was assuming more people were going to do like,
bounce in. Yeah.
Yeah. But I suppose in practice, those are actually hard to do too. Like there's a reason those are, those are not easily done.
Yeah.
But still a lot of good submissions for us to go through. And we did go through them all. We gave them all ratings and took averages.
And this is actually becoming one of my favorite parts is how amazingly consistent we are in our ratings. Like I think there's,
because we do a blind rating from each other.
We both rate them and then send it to each other. And I think there was only like what did we have here? Maybe like 30 some on our list.
Yeah, and we do like just a peek behind the Wizard of Oz curtain is we do like a 1 through. It's our what's in the can rating system. Yeah. Just to be consistent with the show. Although I've noticed over I would say years, but over the contest, nobody gets a 5.
No. Have we ever given a 5?
No,
for
nobody
anything?
ever rates. I think when Scans helped us, I think he actually did rate a 5, but you or I will not give out
4.5 is as high as we'll ever go.
It's not a 1 to 5 scale. It ends up being a like 1.5 to 4.5 scale because
really it's like a 2 to 4.5 scale. That never even crossed my mind that 5.
None of us give out 5s.
Like a 5 is just impossible to hit in my head for some reason.
So and then we average those two, and we end up staying pretty true to the score.
Yeah, I don't know if we've really ever been off by more than a half a point from each other.
No,
like there might be one where I have a 3.5 and you have a 4, but there's never a time where I have a 3 and you have a 4, you have a 4.5.
No,
and I have a 3. Like that doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't.
So it is pretty amazing that when we get done and we consolidate them,
it's like, that's pretty easy. Yeah.
Over 90% of them are the exact same score.
Yes.
This time you did some quarter points. I didn't do any quarter points this time. So there's a few we were off by a quarter point on.
Right.
But there was only a couple that we were off by a half a point.
Yeah, right.
Like maybe 2 or 3 was all.
Right. It seemed like if I was to look at it, I gave out a few more 4s and you gave out a few more 3.5s. Mm-hmm. Somewhere in there.
Yeah, I'm a real stickler.
Yeah, you're more of
I'm a real critic.
It's harder to get a 4 out of you. But that's actually, you're being more consistent with our what's in the can rating, really, by giving out more 3.5s. 3.5 is kind of the standard.
Yeah.
And you have to earn anything above, you really have to earn anything above a 3.5.
Mm-hmm. That's very true.
Should we save the grand prize winner for last?
I think
so. It's a slow build.
So should we start at the bottom? These are in no particular order. It's just more of however they got written on the sheet. So should we start at the bottom of the sheet and work ourselves up?
Yeah.
All right. First one at Swartz_spots.
Yeah. One of the best mustaches in Massenomics culture, I would say.
Killing it. And he's got the bottle flip bouncing through the gym.
Yeah.
And this one
This was a late entry too. Was it?
I
think this was like the 18th entry.
All right.
Entry on the 18th.
This one got a chuckle out of both of us.
Yes.
Where who's the whole, we saw most of those guys at the Arnold.
Yeah, it's a whole crew of people there in that apparently trained. I didn't realize all these guys trained together.
I didn't either.
I recognized like 5 of the people in that video, either people that have just followed us for a long time and tag us frequently, or like actually did stop, and like the guy that has long straight dark hair. Like I
remember talking to him at the Arnold. Yeah, they just posted like a picture the other day with us.
And one of the guys isn't he a USAPL spotter and loader?
Yes. Weren't they the spotters?
I think somewhat. I don't know.
I think they bought a drink spotter that weekend. I think
Yeah.
they bought multiple drink spotters.
And I could be getting some people mixed around, but okay.
I think you're right.
But it was a cool video. You know, it was like bounced over someone's bench press, and I don't know. I liked the group aspect of it. Did something for me.
They had the bottle bouncing off someone's bench press and off their back while they're squatting, and eventually the bottle makes its way into the drink spotter.
I guess we'll end up sending it to Thomas. He can figure out how he wants to divvy that one sign out amongst the group of them. Maybe they'll put it in that gym that they were in. Would make some sense, I suppose.
Wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah.
So good stuff there, guys.
So congrats.
Next on the list, man, we could really have benefited from some of those alternating row colors here.
Yes, across, that's true.
But we
especially hashtag submasters.
Exactly. Yeah. Next we have at Toby _ Juan _ I'm just gonna say Kenobi.
Yeah.
Even though it's KNBI, but
yep.
Big Toby, and that was with the golf chip shot. And this is in the vein of classic trick shots here.
Yeah. A lot of golf themed things came about from this.
Well, it is summertime and golf has been a bit of a hot topic on
I don't know if it's because like golf is a good trick shot or if it's because it's been come up so much. Like I think it's because it's come up so much. That's why it was so heavily incorporated, which I did appreciate that.
Yeah,
like,
it was.
Don't know why I didn't suspect that, but I
was not expecting any golf. I was not expecting any golf.
Yeah, and there ended up being, there's probably like 7, 8, 9 maybe here that included golf in some way.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, there was. I didn't really click with me either how many actually did have golf. You're right.
But that particular one just did feel like a good trick shot though, right? Like it was a decent little chip.
Yeah, he chipped it in. It rolled across the green. He had the drink spotter set up at the hole.
They kind of used the drink spotter as a backboard.
Yep, and it dropped in the hole.
I guess that makes the shot easier, right? Because you've got a backboard.
In theory,
which you
you don't have to worry about hitting it too fast. But,
right.
Still takes some skill to do that. So
for sure.
Yeah, that was a.
So he gets a caution drink spotter sign.
Yep. You want to take the next one here?
Sure. Classic, longtime Massenomics supporter. So, and he didn't. There's no favoritism because of that. But I would just comment. It's good to see him in the winner's circle. I'm not sure if he's won in any contest before or not. But the first supporting member ever of the Massenomics
Number
podcast
one
is Big Scott Dodds, and Big Scott did the longest trick shot of the competition. His actually went all over the place, but he chucked it from, I think Scott's from Michigan, and he chucked it all the way to Scance's home gym in unknown Providence of Canada. And it was just kind of a funny little silly edit of the Dasani water bottle. And at first, it bounced over that picture of you flexing on a boat, and it bounced over.
That's what had me just cracking up. Is he kept cutting to these just dumb photos. Yeah. There was the Borat one. So
there was something with me. I don't remember what it was. Even
I can't remember now either. But yeah, just all the places it was going. And
yeah,
it was doing all.
Was there something in like here, like at the gym or something that it bounced off of too?
There might have been. Now that I watched so many of them, I already forgot. But just the number of places it kept going. At first I thought, oh, okay, he cut, and it's going to show there. And then there's like, oh, well, there's this one detour. Oh, there's me. Oh, there's Tanner. Oh, there's Borat. And it just kept going on. And it made me laugh more as we went. So
that was a good one.
I really enjoyed that, Scott. That was well done.
And even before we get through everyone, I do always have to caveat this. There was a lot of good ones here that aren't going to win today.
There was.
Unfortunately.
There was.
For you guys. I could pick out about 10 that were right on the next borderline.
And that's the problem is people bring the heat for these things.
They do.
So
they do.
Just how it works out.
Yep.
Next
one.
Next up, big at Kevin _RSG _18. And he's the director of safety.
Yes.
With a golf shot as well.
Yeah. Yes.
And with a reverse hyper.
Yes.
And at a home gym.
The original drink spotter,
he's hitting
right?
a lot of the hot button topics there.
Yeah. And he was just I honestly think he was a little too convincing as the director of safety, though. I'm wondering if that's not his profession.
Fits. I'm curious, what his professional background is, because he looks like a guy that could make a living in that field.
Yes. And luckily for him, he just won a drink spotter caution sign, so he'll never have to worry about being unsafe again.
Yeah. Yep. He's got it made.
Next one. a classic favorite in the winner circle here.
No stranger to.
We'll probably hear some moans and groans as we announce this winner, because nobody likes a guy that wins too much, do they? So we're almost doing him an anti-favor by picking him as a runner-up.
I don't think he has a problem with it.
The scoring was the scoring, and we have to give credit where credit's due. Big, of course, you might suspect by now who we're talking about. Big Matt, mostly squat videos, Matt. See a lot of boos in the Discord already, except for Matt. He's dancing. He is a runner-up winner, and he did all the measure. So he was doing his trick shot, and he was going through doing all the measuring, doing his angles, the geometry or the math behind it. And then also I like the A Beautiful Mind cut, where he's like
writing on
a glass, is figuring, I suppose, sine, cosine, tangent, some of that stuff.
Right. Yeah. All the geometry.
What's the old one we did? Mean, median, mode. I don't think it's relevant here, but
figuring out the median mode of the whatever.
And then, but really, so that was funny. But the scene I really liked of that video was when he throws the ball,
and it's his,
and it does the change,
the wardrobe change.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Changes.
That was technically that was a really impressive section to watch. Yes. I like that a lot. That was really good.
And then the very end of the video ends with him doing just the tiniest trick shot, and it's is it exhibit? Then he's like, "Yo, dog, I heard you like drink spotters."
Yep, so we put a drink spot on your drink spotter. Yeah.
Now be careful how you read the next thing here, because the order is.
I know. So we're gonna go.
So we have one last runner up.
That last runner up,
and almost everything we just said about Matt
also applies to this next person.
Yes.
So get the groans ready.
Yeah.
Your final runner up for the Drink Spotter Trick Shot Contest is at Nate561. Nate E561. And it's like, could there be a contest where Matt's winning and Nate isn't like right there with it?
Sometimes we expect more out of these longtime contest participants, so they really got to do well to make it in the winner circle. But they as much as we'd like to knock them down a peg, they both made it again, didn't they?
Yep, they know what it takes. They're veterans at this point. And Nate's was good. He put he had all of his safety gear on, including the safety squat bar.
Yep. Which is a key, there's levels to that. It's the safety squat bar.
A lot of safety in there.
And to be honest, what does it for me, and that is a well-made video and everything, but what does it for me is he did a pretty good trick shot in that, though. Like, he was standing on his roof with the safety squat bar.
He gets all of his safety equipment on. He has the safety squat bar on his back, climbs up the ladder to his garage, and then shoots the ping pong ball into the drink spotter on the ground.
Yes.
So that takes some skill. Like,
arguably one of the top most skilled trick shots in this competition of actual trick shots that we saw. And we, to be fair, that was a consideration for us of, seeing an actual,
skillful shot.
Yeah. Skillful shot. Also a little bit dangerous on that for a contest all focused around safety.
Not sure if safety was as much as safety was at the forefront of the conversation, it kind of wasn't at the same time.
Yes. So well done there. And that concludes our runner, our second place.
Do we need to crack into a can
let's
right now
crack into
before
a
we
can.
go to the finalists?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a what's in the can, though, Tanner.
It is.
It is.
Oh, okay.
And I'm pretty sure this is a flavor while you're guessing it, I'm pretty sure someone told me to get this flavor. And I got to look up who that is, because I'm all about giving credit where credit's due.
Yep.
Okay. Here, there was one hair on the can. Let me get that off for you.
That would knock it down a few JD Power Associates awards if there was a hair in my can.
I got to dive into this, see what it's about.
Oh, I could smell something even just on like...
That's what I thought. Okay.
Oh, I smell. I smell.
I would maybe struggle with this one a touch. Let's see.
It tastes good. I'll tell you that.
It is. It is good.
We're dealing with the sparkling water here. It really had more of an aroma than it does a flavor, almost, to me.
I 100% agree. That smell, I thought we were going to be in Flavor Town, but they did dial back a little bit.
I'm feeling a little bit strawberry. Let me try that.
Okay.
But is anything ever just strawberry? If I'm not confident on the strawberry, first of all, I'm just saying I'm feeling a little I'm going strawberry in the answer, but I think it's more than that. I think kiwi goes with strawberry sometimes, so I'm going with a strawberry kiwi sparkling water.
Strawberry kiwi?
Yeah.
Not a bad guess. Why don't you take a look?
Oh, I don't like the color of the can for that vote. What is that?
Blackberry lemon.
Boy.
Aha. So you were quite a ways
Nailed
off.
it.
I do get where you're saying. So when you
Yeah.
said strawberry, I'm tasting it and thinking, I could see that.
I could never drink that and peg it as blackberry, but now that I know, I want to have it's always good to have that sip
I think you'll get
after.
the lemon now.
Yeah.
But then at a certain point, when you're talking about berries that are so diluted, it's like a berry's a berry, I guess.
I don't think someone could guess blackberry in a million years out of a Rin, outside of just a lucky guess.
I don't think I'd get that either. And I got to give credit to Big Evan Shelton for the recommendation on that one.
Thank you, Big Evan.
It's supposed to be a new flavor because I don't remember ever seeing it. He recommended it. Go to the grocery store the next week. Boom, there it is.
Big Evan, there he is. He's in the Discord community, so props on
yes.
props on
Good
being
work,
a supporting
Evan.
member also. What do you give it though? That's the question, right?
Man, if it's got lemon or lime in it, it's hard for me to not edge it towards a 4 because I think it's better than a 3.5. This one's tricky for me because I think it's better than a 3.5, but 4 is
Pretty strong.
about
rating.
as high as the scale really goes.
I'm giving it a 3.5. It just sits at a 3. It's good. It's good. It lives at a 3.5
Yeah,
for me,
Big
but
Keith
it's good.
says, Big
I would
Keith says
recommend.
3.75. I'm not sure if
I don't
that's
know if we've
allowed
ever done
in
that.
beverage
Yeah,
rankings.
yeah.
It's allowed in video rankings, but I don't know if it's allowed in beverage rankings. So I guess I'll have to go hard on it and go 3.5.
Yep.
All right. Time for
The grand finale.
the main event.
Yes.
All right.
What do we got? Can you play us in?
Should we get the crowd going? Get the people going.
We're pumped, baby.
All right. First place in.
And this wins the 24 karat gold plated one of a kind of drink spotter.
worth like probably way too much money. The winner is at Turner _ Austin _
Austin
Big
Turner.
Austin Turner.
Of breaking parallel shorts fame, Austin Turner.
The one and only.
Yes.
The infamous man himself.
Yep.
And he had 3 classic trick shots from across his home gym. The last one, I think it was his girlfriend, right?
Yeah, fiance maybe.
Fiance.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
Something
what the
like that.
relationship is there.
Maybe just friend.
Gym
Who
partner.
are we to assume?
What are we so quick to classify things over here? There was another person in the video with him, and they were doing trick shots. The last one, they had was it the 10-pound plate?
I think it was smaller even.
Smaller,
It was like
5 or 2.5 on the
straight
cup.
plate.
On the
Could
cup.
incorporation of a sponsor.
Yep, they're sitting on the cup in the drink spot. They were trying to throw the ping pong ball through the strength coat plate. This other person with him did in fact make it in, and their reactions were very genuine.
There was good genuine. It was I really got the trick shot reaction feel, like the Dude Perfect. Granted, Dude Perfect is a little bit, like, are you really excited about making that? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go.
Yeah. You guys
But
have
this
done
didn't
many
feel
times.
like that. Like this felt more realistic. And we liked the real trick shots. It was entertainment there.
Yeah.
It was good
Yep, the
stuff.
genuine reactions were fun.
Yeah.
It's hard to not watch that and just like smile and be like, oh, I'm excited for how much fun they're having here. That's
Yeah,
really
and
cool.
I think we kind of both had that pegged as winner too, so it didn't really take much debate on that.
No.
But we were both kind of sold at that.
We were. So great work, Austin. Great work, everyone. But Austin is the real winner here.
There seems to be a bit of controversies though within our Discord community. Do you need to be present to win?
Oh boy.
We won't make that
We
stipulation.
won't make
this
it.
time.
Maybe we'll keep that in mind
we'll
for
keep
next
that-
time.
Yeah,
though.
that you must be present on the live.
Could really help pump those numbers up if you have to be present.
That would be a sick
claim
little
your
trick, wouldn't it?
prize.
Be like,
Yeah.
oh, sorry, he's not
You're
here.
not there. It's just going to go to the
on
next
list.
person. Yeah.
There was several others that we're not picking as winners, but could have been easily winners. And there's a lot of familiar names in there. But
There, and like we said, we do keep the scoring pretty tight. And honestly, outside of those 6 people we just named, we're talking like a quarter of a point separated like 5 more people from making it in there. It was very, very close. Once you go down a quarter or a half a point, you get a lot more people in there. So there was some really good stuff. We enjoyed all of them.
there's just particular references I enjoyed. The Happy Gilmore reference that got thrown in there.
was funny.
Appreciated that. The Top Gun, of course. I liked that. Incorporation of the kids was good that several people did.
Just shenanigans in the gym in general
Yeah.
by several people.
Yeah. So there's a lot of good things. I guess we won't really go over them all because we can't, unfortunately. We could, but then we wouldn't be able to talk to our guest today.
We wouldn't. Then what would people come here for?
That's true. I know what they would come here though for is supporting our supporting members. So I've talked quite a bit about what our supporting members are here today, but we did have a couple that we wanted to specifically support here outside of those of you that were just winners. You, of course, are all supported through what we just did right here. But others from this week, Big Scance competed in a strongman competition. It was PEI's Summer Showdown 2022. I think maybe he won his master's class. I'm not sure. He might verify that for us, but he did compete. And then supporting member Big Caden Johnson of Western Northeast South Dakota.
Tearing it up.
Competed in Strongest on the Prairie in North Dakota. His second, I think, strongman competition. And he finished first in the open super heavyweight class with some stiff competition. There's other Massenomics gym members that frequent Massenomics gym that competed in there that are also very strong.
Yeah.
And this was by no means a gimme for Caden to win that.
No, I mean, any of those guys winning it, that is an accomplishment.
Yes,
because
that is there was a strong group of competitors. Actually, in that whole strongman competition, heavyweight, like Big Jake, for example, he finished second, and he's super competitive in that class. And the guy that beat him is also a stud. And I would think even going down the list, even we had Felipe from the gym competed in the novice class, and Big Jake's brother. Like there was even the novice class was stacked with people that are really strong dudes. So congrats to Big Caden for winning first place there.
Yeah. Good stuff, guys.
Good stuff. Should we get to our guest? Do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Bye-bye, Discord.
See you, Discord.
Okay, guest time.
Got him on the horn now. Hopefully.
Hello.
Big Bobby, is that you?
Yes, sir. It is. How you doing, man?
Awesome. You're live on the Massenomics podcast with Tanner and Tommy.
What's up, Bobby?
Sweet. What's going on, guys?
Oh, not much. We're excited to get you on. It's something we've talked about for a while, and we finally got to make it happen here.
Man, I'm excited to be on. I know we tried to link up, I think last year, just never kind of came to be with how busy we both were.
Well, and then you're always competing in all these big strongman competitions all the time. So you need to really, I think, take a look at your priorities here. And,
I have. That's why I'm doing twice as many this year as I did last year.
Well, that's fair. We can't get on each. And so is the next one that you have coming up the Shaw Classic? Is that in August here?
Yeah. So I've got Shaw Classic in August, and I've actually, depending, I don't want to speak on the contest that may or may not happen in October because I haven't gotten an invite for it yet. But if I get an invite to the Rogue, I will have a contest every month from August to November.
So have you ever competed with that much frequency before?
So this is the first year I did it. And actually, I did the Arnold Beerstone, which was the first pro contest that Gabriel Pena threw for a strongman court. And then I went over to Leeds and attempted to break my old log record. I did all three of those things within 30 days. So
are you Are you worried about it at all from any, from a durability standpoint or anything like that? Or do you have to kind of treat it where some are just more important to you than others and you really prep harder for those ones in particular?
So that's kind of a two-part question. In the situation I'm in right now, where I have an invite to the Shaw Classic and the Arnold UK, the Arnold UK is within almost exactly 30 days of the Shaw Classic. The events are relatively similar. Almost with the exception of one or two events, they're exactly the same. So that being said, I can kind of take a break right before the Arnold UK because I'm already in shape.
Yep.
But it's when we have contests that have like polar opposite events. That's when things get kind of difficult. So I definitely prioritize certain contests over others, depending on obviously what contest it is, how much money's in play, or quite frankly, how bad I am at those events. But it really just it changes almost every contest. So
I know it could change on the events and everything, but
Mhm.
I assume, if you could pick one contest to win, it's World's Strongest Man. Like that probably goes without a lot of discussion. But what? Or maybe not.
That's not true. That's not true, man.
Okay, that's my question then. So that was going to be my question if we exclude World's Strongest Man, but if we include it, then even what is like if you could just win one contest in this next run?
What's the Bobby Thompson pinnacle?
What's the one you would want to win?
The Arnold Classic has a very special place in my heart.
Okay.
So that was actually, so I'd gone to the Arnold Classic a few times when I was younger. And then when I was 15 or 16, I said I wasn't coming back until I was competing. And then the next time I went back was for the Arnold Amateur. And I won that. That was years down the road. So the Arnold's a very big deal to me. So.
And also a better cash prize for winning the Arnold too, right? Or do we have that wrong?
No, so I think as this year it was, but the Arnold it's really kind of fun right now with that particular topic because the Rogue Invitational came in last year and offered this astronomical amount of money.
Right.
And with that being said, the Arnold stepped their game up. Worlds is starting to step their game up. So there is better money for the Arnold than Worlds, but it's not so much about the money. For me, they're both so much. It's so much money to win both. For me, that kind of takes a backseat to just the one I want to win.
That makes sense. It is an interesting thought, though. If you could, so this next year, if you could either win World's Strongest Man or the Arnold, you are picking the Arnold.
Yes, 100%.
Okay. Do you think you're in the minority of the top 15 guys in the sport there?
I don't know. That's a fair question. That's not one I've ever thought of. I do know that there are definitely specific athletes that look at the Arnold and go, this one speaks more to me on a personal level, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for the other guys, but it's just there's so much heritage there at the Arnold. There is with World's Strongest Man as well, but it's just different.
Well, you're a statically strong lifter, obviously, and the Arnold has a reputation for being really, you could argue that it maybe is a better, depending on what you consider to be strong, the Arnold could be a better test of finding the strongest man, right?
So I'm going to quote Brian Shaw here. The Arnold Classic will show you who the strongest man in the world is.
Yep.
World's Strongest Man will show you who the strongest athlete in the world is.
Yep. I think that makes sense.
That's really the best way to look at it. But in all reality, my moving events aren't bad. I'm not so great at medleys, but the reason contests like the Arnold tend to go better for me than Worlds will is because I'm too stupid to quit and I die last. It's kind of like if you give me a 500 kilo yoke, I know if I get that yoke positioned right on my spine, it's not going to go anywhere until I decide it's going to go anywhere.
Yep.
So like those are the events I get really good at. The heavy ones where it does come down to just how stupid are you to keep going.
Like just grueling, like just
grind it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad when I was younger, he called it a Superman complex because I'm constantly looking for what it is that's going to shut my body down, if that makes sense. I want that challenge. I want to see where the line is.
Finding your kryptonite, so to speak, then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. That's cool. That's interesting. What about like the Shaw Classic? Like, is that, it's had awesome lineups every year now, actually, and just a cool lineup of guys. You guys competing this year, like that's obviously growing and gaining momentum. That like a lot of people are excited to compete in that. That's moving up the ladder, I would say, of these competitions.
It is very quickly, and that was something Brian and I were talking about actually this past week when I was out seeing him in Colorado. And the Shaw it's not really comparable to any of. We have the big four. You've got the Shaw Classic, the Rogue Invitational, the Arnold Classic, and World's Strongest Man. Like those are the big four contests for us. And the Shaw Classic, while it is in that lineup, it's kind of like its separate thing for its own in regards to the athletes. Because one, we're going and it's designed by an athlete for an athlete, but two, like there's just a lot less kind of bull crap that comes along with it. Like when you're at Worlds, like we have to go to media, we have to do all this video stuff, and it's fun, but it's also kind of draining. When we're all at the Shaw Classic together, we all just kind of shut down and relax. Like we're there to compete, we're there to work, but it's just a completely different environment, and it's almost kind of like a recharge.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And so you were just out there with Brian and doing some training and some filming and stuff like that. It looked like what was that experience like?
Oh, it was phenomenal. It gave me a different level of respect, but it also kind of was a gut check for myself, just because I was hanging out with Brian and his family the entire time. And it was the day that Brian picked me up at the airport. I had very little sleep. I was like 2 meals in. I should have been 4 or 5. Brian was in a similar position. We, spent a lot of the beginning of our training session just kind of bantering back and forth, and him kind of teaching me some stuff from the past that will benefit me in the future. And then we talk, and then it's time to train, and we're both just beaten. Like we're cramping up, like we are not in optimal training conditions. And this man did not stop. He did not care. And then the second training session we had, there was actually there was a semi truck that showed up with like 30 pallets of protein. And it's like immediately when it showed up, Brian was like, "Hey man, stay here, keep warming up. This is going to take a little while though." And the camera guy, James's camera guy and his assistant, and Brian and Carrie all start unloading this truck. So I jump in the back of it and start unloading. And it's almost 100 degrees out there in Colorado. And I keep thinking Brian's going to be like, "Hey man, we got to put training off." Like it wouldn't be smart. Nope. The moment those pallets were unloaded, we went and we log pressed, and it was our press day. And I was like, holy shit, like this guy is running me into the dirt, and he's tough as hell. Like he doesn't have an off switch. It gave me a whole new insight to what working hard actually is.
And he's like, I don't know, what is he, 12, 13, 15 years older than you or something?
He's been doing it a while.
Right.
That's the thing. And you're exactly right. He has been doing it a while, and he did not, it's just, you look at somebody and you're like, okay, like he's going to handle this well, maybe. And then I'm not going to lie, that day we were unloading the truck, I thought about Brian's age. And I was like, is he going to be able to come around and like, are we going to get to have a good session? I'm dumb enough and young enough to kind of pull it off. And then we got in there, started going, man. And it was insane. It was one thing after the other. We were moving. We had a good pace. And if anything, I think Brian probably wanted to do a little bit more.
How about that, like being out there training with them? I know he's been bringing a bunch of different guys in that come and train, and he, does video or podcast, use it for different pieces of content, which makes a lot of sense. And it's a lot of fun. And it always looks like I watched your video when you guys, there's been one video out where you two were together. And what were you were doing yoke, I think, in the video that I watched.
That was our leg day. Yep.
Okay. So, and it just looks like you're having a lot of fun. But I'm wondering, I guess what I'm wondering is, how competitive do you feel when you two are lifting together? This is Brian Shaw, one of the best strongmen ever, if not the best ever. And you're there. He invited you here to go lift with him. And like, how much of you wants to be like, oh, I'm going to show up. I'm
for it today.
Yeah. Like I'm going to show I'm strong, like I feel like I'm stronger than him, and I'm going to prove that today. Like, do you have that feeling?
So honestly, I didn't when I was there. I knew there were certain events that Brian's not going to keep up with me on, but I also knew there were more events where it was going to be the opposite. And if anything, I was kind of nervous in the beginning because Brian, I watched Brian. Brian went to his first Worlds in 2008. I was a freshman in high school. I remember watching him on stage at the Arnold as a kid, walking around in the crowd, just bumping into people. So me showing up, like Brian, having done this, I've gotten to meet quite a few of the guys who I looked up to. I don't want to say necessarily idols, but definitely guys I was like, that's the guy I want to be like. And Brian's the only one that really hasn't let me down. So getting there, Brian instantly made me feel comfortable. Kerry did the same thing. Brian picks me up at the airport. They bring me in. He's like, hey, I got to feed you. Brian makes me a meal. And I'm sitting there eating, talking to his kids, talking to Kerry, and then we go train. So once I got there, he probably didn't do it on purpose, but he made me feel like I was at home. And then when we went to go train, we were just there to train. That's all it was. There was no, I'm going to beat you, you're going to beat me. It was almost kind of like we were too intelligent to be that way, so to speak.
That's really cool. So what did Brian make you when you got there?
So he it was just a trifecta bison patties. And yeah, I mean, that's Brian legitimately eats. First off, he doesn't sponsor anything he doesn't believe in. But Brian legitimately lives on trifecta.
A lot of it.
Well, or it's like Mexican or Texas Roadhouse, one or the other.
Yeah. Awesome. No, that's cool. That's really fun. And I like, it's fun that he puts that content out there because it's fun to see, like whether it's you and him or whether he brings, Gabriel Pena in or whoever it is. Just seeing you guys in like, I don't know, a little bit more, kind of more of a natural setting and stuff where you are just like, guys being dudes
yeah.
lifting. Yeah.
That's exactly what it was the entire time with James, with Brian and James. James is Brian's camera commercial guy, the guy that carries his fan, carries his towel. James does a little bit of everything, but James is walking around with his camera, sticking it in our face and getting down for angles. And I'm like, this isn't weird at all. Legitimately, this isn't weird. I feel like I'm just hanging out, talking shop with one of the boys back home.
Yeah. Isn't James also like 6'8"?
James isn't 6'8". I think he's like 6'3" or 6'4".
Okay.
He's actually a big dude. Like if you're looking at normal people walking down the street, like James, he's an imposing figure. Like he's not a small human.
I always wondered, you probably don't know the answer to this, but it's just a thought thinking of now. I always wondered if Brian got him, like he purposely needed a cameraman that's like about that tall, so it doesn't look like you're always like looking up to, if the cameraman's 5'6", like it's just always this angle. Yeah.
Not at all. Brian actually, Kerry put out like something on Facebook, I think years ago saying, hey, we're looking for somebody to fill this position. And then James answered, and James actually at the time lived relatively close to where I do now in Virginia. Okay. And he moved out there to Colorado, started working with Brian. And then as time went on, James kind of turned into like a little Swiss Army knife.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yep.
So you are still you're the reigning, or you hold the American log press record, correct?
Yes, I do.
Do you have a lot of competitions that you're coming up? And I know it's maybe like is it two different styles of training if you're training to break a particular world record or American record in an individual event, or if you're training to do well in 4 different competitions for the year? I mean, do you train differently if you have those different goals, segmented out for those different periods of time?
Definitely. I can, with as strong as my pressing was, I was able to actually prep fairly well last year for a few different contests while working on my log press. But that's just because log press has always been something I've been relatively good at. So I had a fantastic kind of base to springboard off of. But there was a time where I was preparing to pull 505 kilos. And I realized pretty quickly into that prep, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to start doing things that it's going to pull me away from every other event I want to prep for. So that world record, that would take quite a bit. I would probably have to look at maybe only doing 1 or 2 contests that year to get that done. For the world log press record, if I'm not just trying to kind of like inch over my American record, but take the all-time record for log, that's something I really don't know. I would have to decide. One, I would have to decide I want to do it, have to find a time to do it, and then kind of explore that as things progress.
Do you see anyone out there know of anyone that's really actively going to be gunning for your American log press record anytime soon?
There's a couple guys that are talking about it on Instagram. I know
talk is cheap though, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And it's like, and I remember the first time I hit 450 on a log, it was like, oh yeah, I'm going to take down the American record. Well, somewhere between 450 and like 475 ish, men are made. Like that's just, for whatever reason, that 25-pound jump divides a lot of guys. There was a guy that was getting ready to do it for a little while. His name was Jacob Bennerty. He really hasn't done, I don't think he's done a single large contest at this point, but he was somebody I looked at and I was like, okay, like that guy could do it. And then Trey Mitchell, actually, I think if he decided to, but Trey Mitchell's like, it's everybody forgets Trey knows how to log press. So,
yeah, it seems like that log press in particular, like there's a large group of guys that are like on this, that we're in this ballpark of like breaking the American record. But, even before you broke it, there's almost like a couple handfuls of people that you see, like what you said, like you might see them in training put up this 450 log press and you're like, oh damn, like they're
one or two things go their way and
right. But like the actual execution of it obviously is a lot harder than that.
It is. And I mean, especially when you're looking at doing something that's 100% or nearly 100% of your maximum capability, there's an element of luck that plays into it. Like there is, it's not ever, when you're pushing the limits like that of what you're capable of, there's some luck in play. It's like playing poker. There's a whole lot of skill, but there's a little bit of luck that's got to be there too.
Yeah. And I think it's even highlighted to slightly the next degree on like that world record log presser Iron Bibby. I think he beat it by a kilogram here not too long ago or whenever that was. And like that record is, people are like knocking on the door of that in theory, but like it just proves to be really, really hard. It's just way easier said than done.
Well, it is. And, I'm pretty sure there's at least 2 Americans that have unofficially beaten my record in their gym. There's 2 guys in particular, I think, that have done it, but there is an element of respect with the guys that are really good where it's like, unless I plan on doing it in contest soon, I'm not going to post that I beat a record in my gym.
Right.
It's not like it's a gym lift. It's impressive. I'll be the first one to congratulate somebody, but actually getting it done on the day is a very different animal, especially in front of a crowd like Giants Live or the Arnold.
What about the 505 kilogram deadlift? Like, is that I see Canadian Hooper, he's got like his YouTube series where, I think he's basically saying that is what he's training for, unless I have that wrong. But I think that's what I've seen. Do you see anyone breaking that, or do I have that right or wrong even?
So you have it right. However, the part you missed is that when Hooper was discussing this in the very beginning, he asked, he's like, if somebody pulls 505 that day, can I pull 510? Like, that's what Hooper's already thinking about, what's past 505.
Okay.
And I think, like numbers, if I were to look at some things, the numbers aren't there for me to think that he could, but I've had not a live interaction, but I've got a decent idea who this guy is, and his competence makes me think he'll do it.
Yeah. So
if anybody, yeah,
he'd be your number. If someone's going to do it, he'd be as high on your list right now as anyone.
Yes. Bishop was Adam Bishop was my first pick, and then Bish got hurt. So I was a little heartbroken over that, because like I full-heartedly expected Bishop to pull 505. But second on that list was Hooper, and Bish is gone now. So if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be Hooper.
Okay. And is there a specific competition that they're planning doing this?
Yeah. So Giants Live is holding their contest in Cardiff the week before the Shaw Classic, which is the Deadlift World Championship. So basically what they'll do is they're bringing, I believe Hooper's going to do the entire contest. But the deadlift is one event in the entire contest, but they will bring in a few specialists who may not do the full contest that are just there for that one event, and their points won't factor in to the overall scores.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. And they've done things like that before, I think, in the past and some other events too. So that
be a cool venue to break the record in too. They always have a crowd for that.
It would be an amazing, having been out there and seen the style of venue they put out and seen the crowd that comes in. I think that would be it's a place deserving of such a record.
Yeah. We talked about you know, in comparison your age to like Brian's. Interesting fact. You are quite a bit younger than either of us are even. I'm 35. Tommy, what are you?
33.
33. I'm sure we're not the first people to tell you this before. You look a lot older than what you are.
Man, you know, a lot of it's the beard.
Yeah.
My hair is getting a little thin on top, but as Brian put it, man, I've been reading hard and put away wet, dude. I've had a very active life. I've worked some long hours. I've had some close calls, and you know, my body was just like, hey, man, we're gonna start telling stories.
Yeah. Well, how old were you when you could buy beer for the first time? Like 14, 15?
I was 15, and I had a little system. The moment I got my driver's license or my permit. Nope, I might have been 16. I take that back. I was 16 because I started doing it when I could drive on my own. I would go buy beers for the seniors and then upcharge them so I could buy my own beer.
A little racket going on.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, that's just smart.
Yeah, that's just good business.
I mean, I had a job, but I didn't want to spend my own money. Like, I couldn't pull the ABC store off though, because in Virginia, it's all ABC, which is a government, kind of like they are basically government.
Okay.
So like they're very fine by the books. You can't walk in and, you know, talk to the gas station clerk and give him reasonable suspicion you are 21 and walk out. No, they would scan your license. So never got that part figured out, but I had a decent little beer set up.
So that you couldn't buy liquor doing that. You could get beer from other places because like all the liquor has to go through like these AB, because we're in South Dakota and we don't have a setup like that. Oh
yeah, no, you cannot buy liquor in a private establishment outside of a bar, but a bar is allowed to have an ABC license. But to buy liquor by the bottle, you have to go into an ABC store, which is alcohol beverage control.
Oh,
yeah.
God,
yeah.
It always just blows my mind how there's all these crazy rules state by state for beer and liquor. Like, it exists, but I forget.
They have ABC agents that'll walk around at like concerts and card random kids holding beers. Like they'll be plain clothed. Oh yeah, no, they're pretty sneaky here in Virginia, man.
Okay,
that's crazy.
Well, so and along those lines too, you know, you've got the big beard now, and you've had that for quite a while. But we've noticed your style's actually changed at some points in time. We've gone to the Arnold several years and watched the Strongman. You know, have we been to the Arnold like the last 5 years or something like that? Like, there was a point in time there where you kind of had like your hair parted to the side and your wearing your glasses when you lifted. You looked a little different than what you do. If you saw the picture then and now, it's like there's two different distinct
evolution of style over time here.
So what happened is, you see, I always had long hair growing up for the most part. Like when I was younger, like, I mean, I had some locks. Like this was pretty impressive.
Well, you're talking to a couple hair guys over here, so
yeah, like it doesn't grow the way it used to, man. But there was a time. But no, because when I was really young, I would always go get high and tights with my dad. My dad was in the military. It wasn't something he forced me to do. It was just something that I thought had to be done. And then when I realized it didn't, I was like, screw this, man. I'm going to grow this sucker out. And then I went to, I left the job I had and then went to go work for the government. And when I went to go work for the government, that's when I cut my hair. I had a beard, but it wasn't as pronounced as it is now. And then when I left the government, started working for myself, I was like, you know what, screw this. Like, that's just that I'm not a super clean cut dude. It's not who I am.
Yeah, we're like, my hair goes down. I mean, I can grab my hair, like it goes almost to my waistband when it's like long. Tanner's hair is long. Tanner has a long beard too. Yeah, we're both like, it's like, oh yeah, let's see what we can get away with here.
Right.
Well, when you work for yourself, it's a pretty cool thing. It's like I'm gonna wear gym shorts and not shave for the next 10 years.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is. It is. So you're not shaving the beard off anytime soon? I mean,
no, I doubt I'll ever shave. I mean, I've had, with the exception of some very short stints, I've had facial hair since I was like 14. Like I walked into middle school with a mustache you wish you could grow now.
Yeah.
So, and it's just I've had facial hair for so long that I don't know what's going on under there.
It'd be scary. You don't even want to find out. It's just safer to not know.
So like I do like chin checks where I'll like poke and like slap where a second chin would be, and it's not there. So I'm not too upset about that.
Yeah.
But
well,
no, I definitely don't see myself shaving.
Okay. Well, and talking about style, I just thought of this right now. You know, something that comes up a lot is
What's up?
Say it's World's Strongest Man or some strongman events going on or whatever, and there's a bunch of strongman around, and people are posting a lot of things in stories. You know, like all you strongman top level guys are having story posts, and a lot of times you'll be like in the background of someone else's, and you're wearing a Massenomics shirt. Maybe it's the red one, or maybe it's the strongman one. And the number of times that people have screenshotted people's stories and sent it to us of like, hey, Bobby's wearing Massenomics shirt. I mean, it happens every time there's like a big strongman event going on. I swear we get at least one of those. So we always love that.
You know, like you guys make, this is going to sound weird. It's hard for me to find shirts that fit appropriately.
Are those 4Xs that you have?
Those are 4X shirts I have. And a normal 4X, if I were to get it, it's like, it's really loose in the waist and, or like it's super tight up top and then like really loose in the waist. Like the shirts I've gotten from you guys you think you guys sent me like 4 of them.
Yeah.
And they fit the best out of all the shirts I have. Like just wherever you guys are getting them from, whatever, like they fit really well. And I'm like, oh, sweet. Like, you know, I'm 300 and on the verge of 360 pounds with a 40-inch waist and, you know, a monster upper back, and I don't look like an idiot wearing a shirt. I'm going to stick with these.
Every once in a while, we know what we're doing over here.
Very rarely, but every once in a while.
Well, I mean, you guys got clothes figured out, and that's a hard thing to do. So,
have you ever? You've never done a powerlifting meet before, have you?
Actually, I competed in powerlifting when I was younger for probably about 3 or 4 years. It's where it's kind of where I developed my base.
Well, and it makes sense, especially with your, you know what, is that something you would ever have interest in doing, or does it just not really fit into the bigger picture right now? It just doesn't make sense.
It just doesn't make sense at the moment, and I absolutely hate to bench press.
Okay, I was gonna say that would be the one wild card that I wouldn't, but I just assume with, you know, the enormous the log press or the overhead press that you've got, like I'd have to assume you're not a bad bench presser though.
You know, I've got some kind of issues with one of my shoulders. Well, we think it's the scapula, actually, not the shoulder. So if I bench and come all the way down to my chest, I mean, that shoulder is shot for like 2 weeks.
Yep.
So I bench maybe 3 times a year, and usually once a year I'll hit 500 for like one like a double or a triple or something, just to kind of like, can I still do this? I'm curious, but I despise it. Like I hate bench press. I hate bicep curls.
You're the opposite of every gym bro in the world.
I have been obsessed with squatting and overhead press for years.
Yep.
That was just always the things I enjoyed doing.
Well, I guess that's why you're a good strongman. One of the reasons why. Yeah.
I think it definitely helped.
Yeah. That makes sense. We've got this game we play with everyone, Bobby. It's overrated, underrated, and we got a special Bobby Thompson set of topics that we've got prepared for you.
Shit. I'm about to hurt some feelings, aren't I?
You'll be surprised. It's usually, you'll probably laugh more than you will feel like you're really having to lay down some hard and fast rules here. So, yeah, that's usually what people think going into it, and then they find out, oh wait, no, I like this. This is all right.
Well, there's just a lot of really sensitive people in strongman.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you got to be careful what you say and who you say it to.
Yeah, no, I don't think we'll hit too much of that, so you'll feel all right about it. You won't have to hurt too many feelings today.
All right.
But you just have to remember you can't ride the line on these, though. You do have to ultimately pick an overrated or underrated on each one. So
I think we can do this.
Yes, overrated or underrated bouncing as a job.
Underrated.
And did you ever have to bounce very many people?
My dude, I practically paid my bills for 10 years straight by bouncing.
Yeah.
I've got most of my injuries and aches and pains have come from years of, that in various bars and locations that shall not be mentioned.
So you did it quite a while. You said it's underrated. You must have enjoyed it to a certain extent then.
You know, I've met some of my closest friends while bouncing. There's a lot of nights I wish I'd never experienced. I've seen a lot of things that I wish I didn't have to see from bouncing, and it made me kind of resent people as a species quite a bit. But
Yeah, I can see that.
I can look back, and I started doing it when I was 18, and it wasn't for fun. It was literally like I needed a job, and I started getting paid more and more to do it. And I was like, well, you know, even when I was working for the government, like people were going home and spending Saturdays and Sundays out at the ball field with their kids. I'm coming in bruised up, beaten up, and all sorts. It was just a very weird time in my life, but I learned a lot about people, how to communicate, and I learned a lot about myself. And it's honestly, I think my view on violence is a lot different now because of all those years I spent forcefully involved in it.
Well, that makes sense. And even like the violence is one thing, but I just get annoyed being around a lot of other drunk people when you're sober. Like that.
You know, I got really lucky towards the end there. I was in charge. I had a crew that basically the place before last I worked, I was kind of in charge. And I had a crew that worked under me, and they understood that if I had to get involved, they had messed up somewhere. Like Bobby does not like people. He's tired. He's hungry. He's working 40 plus hours a week at his other job.
Yeah.
So it would be people would come out and, you know, I want to talk to your boss. And my guys would look at him and say, you really don't want to do that. So I got lucky there. And then the very last place I worked, I had a phenomenal group of people with me that made those nights a little bit more bearable.
Okay. All right. Overrated or underrated cupping?
Overrated.
So you've done some of it before, right?
I have done some of it before. I've done it to myself, and then my recovery guy has done it to me as well. And it's one of those things where if you look at the science behind it, it's a means to an end, but that's all it is. It's no different than any other 5 things you can do to get to that same end. Like what really kind of hooks people on it is it looks cool.
Yeah.
It leaves a reminder that they did something, so it makes them feel good about themselves. Or they just, for whatever reason, want some old Asian woman to rub alcohol on their skin, light it on fire, and smother it before it blisters. And I'm like, I watched that.
Whatever you're
like,
into.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not appealing to me.
Yeah.
Like, there's nobody I trust enough to do that.
Yeah, that's fair.
So we shouldn't expect you to see any cupping going on anytime soon again then?
You know, if my recovery guy does it, he does it. But usually he'll do it just for, hey, we've done this, this, and this, and this. Let's go here and do this. Or he'll use it as a way to actively work on something while multitasking.
Yep.
I mean, when I go in to see him, it's an 1.5 hour venture anyways.
Yeah.
So if he can multitask and get it done, that's usually what he ends up doing.
Okay. So we know that you're the American Nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
So overrated or underrated, A Nightmare on Elm Street?
Underrated.
Okay.
Underrated. I'm a huge horror movie fan.
Okay.
Freddy Krueger's my dude.
Okay. And A Nightmare on, like, see, I'm not that into horror. I know A Nightmare on Elm Street is Freddy Krueger, but like, are all the Freddy Krueger movies called versions of A Nightmare on Elm Street then?
Isn't there like 8 of them?
Yeah.
Isn't there?
Yeah, it's usually like A Nightmare on Elm Street, and then it'll be like semicolon, like, and then the subtitle.
Yeah. So is that up there like all time with any horror movies then? Like A Nightmare on Elm Street, is that as good as they get, or what?
It's not as good as it at the time it was.
Yeah.
Now it's not so much, but I'm also a huge Wes Craven fan, and if you think about it, this guy created a monster that you were probably going to go home and have dreams about, and he lives in your dreams. Like it's if you think about that, it's like, oh, there's Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
It's basically Inception before Leonardo DiCaprio.
Right.
Oh, dude, when I was a kid, oh man, terrified me. The idea of it was so scary to me. How about Freddy versus Jason?
It was cool, but it was I feel like it was a weak grab at something.
Yeah.
Somebody thought, oh, this will be neat. It was kind of like a really drawn out Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah, they were kind of playing it up, I thought, in that one.
I agree.
It's a good it's a fun thing to think about, but maybe
if dudes are hanging out being dudes, turn it on. But if they're not,
Right. Okay. All right. Overrated or underrated Atlas stones?
Underrated. Underrated 100%.
And you've been working on your Atlas stone a lot, I guess, right?
I have been. I'm finally in a position where I can, which is really nice.
Are you saying like their injury or something was preventing you to be able to do it like you'd want to, or?
So when I very first started Strongman, I was actually pretty good at stones. And then we noticed that I had a pain in my forearm just below my elbow. That if I did a heavy stone session as an amateur, that arm was like shot for a few weeks, maybe a week. It depended. But then it became like, well, we can't keep doing this and losing weeks and weeks of training. We thought it was some kind of tendonitis, and my coach and I, we were beating it up. We couldn't get any relief. And then one day my bicep came off, and it was kind of like, oh, that was like my bicep slowly tearing over the course of a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So then when my bicep fully came back and healed, I was able to really start digging in with stones. But by that time I had to play so much catch up, and it was just kind of like, well, crap. And then the time in which my bicep had to heal, and then where I wasn't working stones right before it tore, I lost a whole lot of kind of learning game with tacky, which tacky's kind of been my nemesis. I just can't ever seem to kind of get the right one where I need it to be. So I've luckily enough, some guys, including Brian himself, have stepped in and been like, this is what you do here. This is what you do here. If we're at contest, ask me. So I'm finally starting to get to where things are working out hopefully with stones soon.
Do you like the format at World's Strongest Man with the stone in to the finals?
No, I don't. I'm not a fan of it. It doesn't make sense to me. It's not my contest, so my opinion doesn't really matter too terribly much. But I also understand why they did it. Unfortunately, it's really good for TV ratings, and you had guys in the heats who number one and number two would kind of make a gentleman's agreement. They'd be like, hey, I'll load one, you load two. That's the minimum we have to do, and we'll go into the finals fresh, which is not really good for television.
Right.
If unfortunately, with the stone off being in play, you'll have guys like myself and Pablo from Ukraine. Pablo was 5th place overall in overall points. I was 7th place overall in overall points, and we didn't make it into the finals, which is supposed to be the top 10. But you had the guys that were like 19th and 20th overall made it into the finals.
Yeah.
So I definitely understand both sides of it. I understand why World's Strongest Man and Giants Live do it that way. But as an athlete, it's not my favorite thing.
That makes sense, especially if I was on that side of the coin. It would really piss me off. I
feel like you're the victim of a system.
Right.
I've been a victim of the system twice.
Yeah.
Like I have in theory, I've been in contention for the finals every time I've been to Worlds. And it's actually in 2021 where I made the finals. I'm the only World's Strongest Man finalist that has gotten to the finals without touching an Atlas stone.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one to look. I laugh at it. I was like, I managed to come 9th at World's Strongest Man, couldn't do the stones at the end because the doctor said it wasn't safe. And I managed not to touch a single stone. So
well, you didn't have to worry about the tacky then.
That was actually, I was like, hey, that was my biggest thing with getting out of the stone off. Was like this, there are too many ways I can screw this up.
Yeah. Okay, so our last topic for overrated, underrated, and we always kind of save the most important for last. So this is that one that maybe will be kind of controversial here.
Ruffle some feathers.
Yeah, so overrated or underrated, Carl's ice cream.
I've eaten at Carl's ice cream one time, and I thought it was a waste of my time.
We don't really know about Carl's ice cream, so maybe you have to explain it. Someone that lives, I think maybe lives by you in Virginia had said we need to get you with that.
It's weird. It's one of the oldest, I think it's either the oldest or one of the oldest soft serve ice cream stops in the States, or no, in Virginia, I believe. But it's kind of like just something you do if you live here. It's like, it's just, I've had it. I wasn't impressed by it. It wasn't bad, but we drive, in particular on Friday and Saturday nights when I would drive into downtown where that place is, there would be a line like all the way down the block to get ice cream. And I was like, it's not that good, folks.
So is it actually different than regular soft serve, or is it just their name?
I think it's, honestly, I think it's just the name, if I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I think it's the name. I think it's the experience. It does have like one of those really old school kind of Dairy Queen vibes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if in downtown Fredericksburg, that's a historical district of town. And the city will not approve any chain restaurants to be within that district. So all the places that have been there for a long time are not necessarily like good restaurants or great ice cream. They've just been there for so long, they became important.
Yeah.
So I don't understand what's up with Carl's, to be honest with you. I think it's overrated.
That sounds like a classic overrated scenario to me. Like that's like this by the book overrated.
Exactly. Like I remember standing in line. I did it for a girl. I'm gonna tell you, that's what it took. Did it for a girl. Stood in line for like 30 minutes. She's like, "You've never been here." And I'm like, "No."
Famous last words.
Yeah. And I was like, "And I still don't know why I'm here. I'm lactose intolerant. There's 40 people in front of us. This ice cream is way overpriced.
Probably like 100 degrees outside.
Yeah. Like I'm sweating. I'm paying money to shit myself. I'm like, why? Like, this is horrible. Like, why am I here?
Overrated, underrated is kind of this pass fail thing. So usually, we let people know if they pass or whatever, but a weird thing happened today. Actually, like you're just like barely on the cusp of passing. So you actually have to do a stone off to see if you, make the pass rating.
Okay. I really don't think you want to do that.
No, it wasn't against us. My God, no.
Okay, because I've also got my tacky situation figured out now.
No, we were gonna have to pick like what's in like Game of Thrones, like you pick someone to fight in your honor or something like that.
Yes,
Like,
we have a representative.
Yeah.
So hold up. I think because you guys are in South Dakota, aren't you?
Yep,
We are.
Yeah, Western
God.
Northeast South Dakota is what we
Jesus,
say.
I don't know. They just must grow them weak out there.
Well,
like that's like what you just did was the equivalent of like my dad's gonna beat you up.
Well, we don't have many other cards to play against you, Bobby.
Honestly, somebody mediocre of decent size could probably give me a run on stones anyways. So you might, if you train for a couple months, you might have a shot.
We won't. That's a pretty big stretch still.
But we'll go with it.
We'll make ourselves feel better and say that. But no, good news is you did pass overrated, underrated. So that was.
I didn't know how I could fail that. Like I was going to ask.
Well, nobody's ever really failed before, but it is still a pass.
The implication that you could fail.
That is fair. That is fair.
That wraps up most of what we wanted to talk to you about. But just one last question. We don't even really have to ask if you've gotten these because I think we know you get these. Do you have any particular like bear DMs, like one that sticks out to you as particularly notable over the years?
Oh God. So
and like
no,
how many, like frequency is it like a daily occurrence? Like how often?
It is enough frequency that when I asked Rob Kearney to kind of look through my account and say like, hey, is there anything on here that's sending the wrong message? He and Joey were just we're not awestruck, but very concerned I was getting more than they were.
Yeah.
But no, like I can remember when they started coming in, it was after I won the amateur Arnold. And I'm thinking like, cool, life's about to take off. I might be able to do this. All these like really hot, like middleweight strong women are going to start hitting on me and I'm going to be somebody. Nope. Dick pics instantly. Dream crushed. I was like, wow.
Any good like financial offers or anything like,
yeah, actually I won't use his name because he was actually really respectful about it. There was a guy that hit me up that he claimed he had done this for multiple World's Strongest Man athletes. He wanted to fly me out to Vegas for 4 days, pay for my flight, pay for me to be there, and he was willing to pay me $250 an hour just to pick him up over my head and drop him on these like foam gymnastics mats. And I was talking to him and I was like, I'm sorry, sir. Like, and he's like, I'm not naked. My wife knows. You'll have to sign a non-disclosure agreement. This is just something I'm into. And what was funny is initially he reached out to me on Facebook, and I just accepted the friend request because it was a big dude pressing something over his head.
Right.
And then I realized the thing was
him.
the guy, and it was his profile. So I turned him down. I was like, hey, man, like, I appreciate the offer. You've been very respectful, but I'm not trying to fly out to Vegas to become a lampshade. So,
yes,
yeah.
exactly.
And then like 2 months later, he's like, hey, I never told you I travel a lot for work. Do you still live in Virginia?
Ooh.
I'm in Pennsylvania. He's like, I'm in Pennsylvania. And I'm like, oh, God.
Yeah.
I was
nope. I live in Antarctica.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, like I know he says he wasn't gay and like it wasn't sexual, so I don't know if that qualifies. But like he was talking about giving me thousands and thousands of dollars.
But was it really not sexual?
I don't know, and I didn't want to find out.
Yeah.
But that was like, there are some days I sit back and I was like, I could have taken a friend with me, like
yeah, paid for the trip,
lived it up in Vegas,
Like-
go throw someone around.
something that
Well,
ultimately is on the surface at least pretty harmless. You know, like
You could have
Well,
told people
like,
you were training stuntmen for a movie.
well, the worst part was I've been a bouncer for like 7 years at that point. I was like, I'm skilled at this.
you weren't charging near enough all those years. It turns out.
No, man. And I was like, I could bring one of my old enforcers with me, have him come out, watch, make sure, the guy doesn't sneak up behind me with a needle or something. Like, but I could never commit to it.
Well, you got something to, you got a plan B in case
Yeah,
things don't
something
work
to fall
out.
back on.
Yeah, OnlyFans.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, I mean, sorry.
No, go ahead about OnlyFans.
I was gonna say, I'm like one mask, a couple balloons, some latex paint away from being like 5 different sections of Pornhub. So
Yes, yes. How about any of your sponsors? Any of that stuff? I think Cerberus. I think you're sponsored by them. Anything else? Anything you want to get out there?
yeah, Cerberus. So Cerberus USA. Really Cerberus wherever you are. We have chapters all over the world. They have been kind of my A1 day one Ken Nowicki. I don't know what he saw in me in the very beginning, but he saw something special, and he has gone above and beyond as Ken Nowicki and as Cerberus to make sure I have everything I need. Things I didn't know I needed at times. And then as well, if you're ever in the Stafford, Fredericksburg area, the gym I train out of, they also sponsor me. It's Rappahannock Strength and Conditioning. So those are the two big. And then, Alive by Design Chiropractic, Dr. Jericho Matthews. Those are my 3 big supporters right now.
Awesome. Well, everyone should check them out. We really appreciate you taking the time, staying up and getting on here with us. And we always like seeing you in those Massenomics shirts. We'll be looking forward to watching at the Shaw Classic and everything else that you do competing wise this year.
Hey, I appreciate it. And I really appreciate you guys hooking me up with those shirts. I'm a huge fan of them. And I think other people, it's like the 90s kind of retro video game. I'm not even a video game fan, and I like that one. But that's the one people always want to ask about.
Travis Ortmeyer likes to think that that's a depiction of him on that shirt, but we can't own up to that.
Yeah, I feel like you're getting set up for a lawsuit with that one. I love Travis. Travis is a great dude.
No, he does. He's all in good fun.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, awesome. Well, we appreciate it, Bobby.
Thanks a lot, Bobby.
No, appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me.
All right. See ya.
See ya.
Cool beans.
You got the cool beans.
The double cool beans for Big Bobby.
Yeah,
That was a fun interview, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was a good one. He's got a lot of stuff going on.
And like we said, also one that's been in the works for an incredibly long time.
We plant all these seeds and then
Some seeds sprout in hours. Some
Yeah.
seeds sprout in years.
that's true. But that's why we're always planting them. And then, like the last, let's see, we had Aaron Horschig of Squat University. That's been a long time
also-
in the
yeah,
work. Who did we have the week before that? Oh, John Hack. Well, that's really has sort of been in the works for years in the way that we've had him on before too. But that's kind of anymore. There's not many people we're getting like that. It's like, oh yeah, we just reached out to him this week and we got him on because
It just
We
isn't
had
a
all
thing.
those people already.
Like those people that we can easily get in touch with, that we've done that before. Some of them we've done that multiple times.
We
with.
have an active list of about 50 people that we're always trying to get on, and it's just like slowly they finally work out. Like a year ago, that's the other thing. A lot of times we record in the evening.
Yeah.
And Bobby's on the East Coast, so he's an hour later than we are even. And a lot of times that doesn't work out very good for people, so we got to manipulate schedules and catch just the right time for some of those people like that.
Yeah. Should I maybe read an ad?
Yeah,
I
you
think
should.
we're,
You should. I think people would love to hear an ad right now.
Perfect, because I got just the one for them. Today's show is brought to you by Texas Power Bars. Buddy Caps first started lifting weights in the late 60s and began powerlifting in the mid-70s. At the time, he was working for Image Barbell, building gym equipment. Around 1976, a local machine shop started making Olympic bars for them, calling it the Image Bar. In 1977, Image Barbell became Champion Barbell. It was then that Buddy started looking at the bars with an intent of changing them for the better. In 1979, Buddy bought his first lathe to begin addressing the known issues. In 1980, his passion, drive, and purpose now had a greater mission. Buddy set out on his own to make what he believed was the greatest bar he'd ever seen and trained with, and the Texas Power Bar was born. It was strong as a house with the best knurling and was maintenance-free. Hundreds of state, national, international, world, and Massenomics powerlifting records have been and continue to be set and broken on the Texas Power Bar. To learn more about Texas Power Bars and buy one of their legendary bars, visit TexasPowerBars.com.
Texas Power Bars, classic. Can't beat that, can you?
Cannot.
You know what else you can't beat?
Still is like my go-to bar at the gym.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I have a very... We have basically any bar you'd want to use within reason. You know, I get that there's different finishes and things, but we got all the big names, and I still have a hard time not going with the Texas Power Bar.
I agree. We're in the same boat. All of us.
I actually have to make myself use the other ones just to say I'm not always using the Texas Power Bar.
You'll find most of the OGs from Massenomics Gym, you know, the guys that have been there for a long time, all use our we have newer Texas Power Bars. We have older ones. For some, everyone's like drawn to the older Texas
original
Power Bars.
Texas Power Bars.
And I don't know if it is just nostalgia or what, but like,
it always
or
seems
just
like they're right by me too, though.
Yeah.
Like they're always just like ready to go somehow.
well, we've got a few of them, so they kind of are like always
those things
around.
have been through the ringer though. When you
They
look
get
at
used
it.
a lot.
They have been. They've been used and abused.
Yeah, and like a lot of the older equipment didn't have the UHMW plastic
So
on
they
stuff.
got maybe degraded at a faster rate than
right anymore. Just about everything is like all the racks, the benches, like. But at the beginning, nothing had that. Everything was,
it was
metal
all
on metal.
just yeah.
Yeah, and now like new bars we get now don't really get put through that same kind of ringer.
They get used more, but
Yeah.
it's under less abusive conditions.
Yeah, no, we also just have so many bars now
That it gets spread out too.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a while that those bars got used all day, every day. Because someone was always
everyone
coming
that
in.
came to the gym was using
those
those.
are the ones to use.
Yeah. And that's why. I mean, that's just part of what makes Texas Power Bars what they are.
I also have another
All
story to tell you, Tanner. And that's
All right.
in 1995, Maurice Big Mo Huffman founded SwissLink. He had a partner based in Switzerland, and their mission was to bring authentic Swiss Army goods to the United States and into the hands of those yearning for quality gear at uncompromised prices. Over the years, that mission expanded to nations across Europe and beyond. Now, for nearly 3 decades, Big Mo has been traveling far and wide in search of the best items from military forces around the world. Big Mo doesn't only find authentic military clothing for SwissLink, he brings in everything you can imagine, from Czech Army bedpans to Italian champagne glasses. At SwissLink.com, you can find classic military surplus uniforms, a great section of military issue backpacks, tools, wool blankets, NATO fuel cans, gas masks, emergency food, first aid kits, survival packs, camping gear, and so much more. SwissLink's unrivaled collection and dedication to quality customer service sets them apart from the rest. Treat yourself to the real thing with authentic military surplus and save 15% off your first order from SwissLink.com with code MASS, M-A-S-S, at checkout. You can visit them at SWISSLINK.com. Thank you, SwissLink.
SwissLink also has MREs.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, they have MREs and other like survival rations.
You're kind of an
food stuff.
MRE guy, aren't you, Tanner?
I have experienced just about every MRE that's in the menu.
Is there
and,
anyone that is actually good? Like if it was presented to you, you'd be like, oh, this is
maybe
fine.
the menu's changed like in the last 15 years, but the notably most horrible, almost, I would say unanimously, that like they had to have gotten rid of this because everyone dreaded because sometimes it was luck of the draw that wasn't, you didn't get to pick, you got whatever was chucked at you. What was it called? The omelet. It's the omelet thing is what it's called. It's like the egg omelet, I think is what it's called.
It was that bad.
The most disgusting piece of food that I've ever.
Was there sauerkraut in it?
No. I would probably rather try to force. I don't know. That omelet thing was, and
Really?
you know
You're
how
a
much
guy
I
that
like
loves
eggs.
You can just devour
This
eggs.
is the one egg product
Really?
that was just brutally
Was there
disgusting.
anything else in it besides egg, like some
like
dehydrated
peppers?
meat of some
yeah,
kind?
no,
or anything?
there was like red pepper flaky thing, like some peppery.
Wow.
It was like an egg and cheese omelet. Awful, horrible.
all right.
That one did come with a little Tabasco thing, so you had
Just
not that
had
big
to
of
do
a.
it.
You had to use the
Yeah.
Tabasco in order to try and choke that down. As far as ones that were good, it more came down to what the sides were because you started to know which. I think I've said this before. Have I said this on the
I don't
podcast
really
before?
remember talking about
Okay.
it. No, I don't.
Maybe I've told other people this before.
Yeah.
To me, what came down to the MRE is you started to know the main courses, which sides they come with. And some had like M&Ms or Skittles in them.
Oh, really?
And like, so those were, highly sought off after, but I liked the ones that, a lot of them either had a cheese spread or a peanut butter. I was always after the ones that I knew that had the peanut butter in them and then they had the bread.
Well, so
the bread,
it would give you bread to go, but is that the idea is that you're putting that on bread?
yeah,
Okay.
or sometimes it was crackers.
Okay.
But I liked the ones if they had bread and peanut butter. And I'm going to use quotes also for the bread. Didn't taste that bad. God only knows what that actually what that is made out of.
Yeah.
They always said the gum, like it came with like two. It looks like Chiclets gum,
like chewing gum.
chewing gum. Like they all had that with it. Like people, I don't know if this is true. I should Google it sometime. Everyone always said that was a laxative.
Really?
The gum was a laxative. So you
What
took
was
that
the
if
point
you
of that?
because if you're out in the field and you're like been eating all this shit like
You
this,
need
apparently some
something to
people
clear
get
you out?
backed up.
Really?
Yeah. So the gum was a lax. I don't know if that's true, but I remember everyone saying that all the time. Other ones that were really particularly good, I remember like a beef stew one I thought was good. Like
I
it
feel like
wasn't.
that's one that you shouldn't be able to. Like
Yeah.
it's just like, all right,
It
pack
wasn't
with a bunch of dehydrated meat and flavorful seasoning.
right. It
things.
wasn't like the things I like to eat in normal life. Those aren't the best MREs. The best MREs were just the ones that like
were the most
couldn't-
tolerable.
Yeah, like that could like some were kind of decent. It was just the stuff that they could. It certainly wasn't like, yeah, in real life I like X, Y, and Z, so those are the
So,
like
yeah, I'll
I would
take
watch
the
out the
MRE
most
version.
for the MRE version of the things you really like in real
Yeah,
life.
they're gonna sneak up on you.
Yeah.
You have your guard down, and then they're gonna.
That being said, there are applications for MREs, and if you did need to buy some, I would go over to Swisslink and you could save 15% off your first order. You can buy
practically giving those
cases,
things away.
12s of MREs. There
You
is
could
good
get
calories in
see
an
if they have
MRE.
the egg one. You can try it yourself.
Yeah, I'll
Get
be
to the bottom
curious.
of it.
Like someone try that out. They also have some other food things there too, but check them out. Swisslink MREs. I don't know if it's the same brand that was government issue or not, but
It might be the Swedish version,
Swedish. Yes.
or the version from Switzerland, I should say,
Yes.
not Sweden.
Yeah. They might have Swedish stuff too, though. We had some other things on the list.
We
I
did.
don't know.
There was one thing in particular that I wanted an
Okay.
update on here. I believe you had some wire update. I think you said.
Yeah, I wanted to give everyone. This is there's
It's the fastest growing TV show in the Massenomics universe.
that's about 20 years old
on the Discord.
So everyone's always wanting to know. We're always talking about The Wire. You watched it,
And
you
it
gave
actually,
rave
it still
reviews.
is hilarious how it's picking up even more steam in the Discord where there's people
People
almost
are
on
starting to get into
almost
it,
on
yeah.
a daily basis. Like, how have I not watched this show
Yeah.
before? Like, that's just today. There was multiple people saying that.
And like I've been getting a lot of pressure to watch The Wire, whether it's from this podcast or everyone in the Discord. Like, when are you going to watch The Wire? Like, I don't get these Wire references. So I wanted to give an update on The Wire. I haven't watched. any of
Okay,
The Wire.
that's kind of the update I was expecting. Like, if you said you watched any episodes, I was going to be even more shocked there.
No, that's
Okay.
the update. Is I have
Okay.
not watched The Wire still.
Well-
But did you say you watched Top Gun?
No.
Oh, I thought I saw something in the Discord. I thought you were because someone said I think it was big. Kevin said that he went to it and he loved it. And
He
then I
said
thought you were saying you watched it or something
Oh,
too.
no,
okay.
no. I have not gone to it yet. I still would like to, but haven't gone to it yet.
Okay. So no Top Gun update.
No Top Gun update
No
for me.
Tom Cruise movie update. Have you watched any Tom Cruise movies?
No, I haven't. I actually was telling my wife about this whole thing, how we haven't watched like any Tom Cruise movies. She's like, yeah, I pretty much haven't either. So someday we'll get through some of those.
Yeah.
And
Just
give
pick
an
the
update.
highlights.
But
Yeah.
until then, I guess we'll just have to keep waiting. I do have another HBO update. I finished another show that you have seen, at least some of I know of, and that's Succession.
Oh, yeah. I Succession's great. I haven't
I've
seen
finished
the most recent
the third season. I
haven't
it came out,
watched
like
season
last
3.
fall.
Yeah.
And I finally got around to finishing it here in this last week. And
I've said it before, and it's tough for me on these series that haven't all come out already.
Oh.
I watch them when they like
and
season 1 or 2, and
there
then
was
I never.
2-year break between
Yeah.
season 2 and 3, so like they took a lot of time off there.
It's a good show. Was the season 3 good too?
Yeah.
Is the show over or still going?
No,
then?
it's still gonna go.
Okay.
Keep going. There's another season. And actually, the way they ended, I'm like, well, this is sort of a dark comedy. I could see that actually just being the end.
Yeah.
But then I looked, and it said there's gonna be more.
I kind of
coming, so-
laugh about like the feel of Succession. It's like almost like their theme song and like just the way like the
'cause
the
they're
camera
all-
stuff of
Yes, and they're all
Succession.
just like wannabes. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
they have the most money in the world and can do whatever they want, but they're
Yeah.
all also trying to be something they're not. Like,
Yeah.
none of them are really equipped to handle running a big company, but they all think they are.
Yeah.
And none of them are really as cool as they think they are,
Right.
and none of them are as smooth or as smart as they think they are. But they're trying so hard, so they're all just like a bunch of phonies. And
I guess that's maybe why everyone likes it, because all of us normal people watch and be like, "Ha,
Like,
see these rich people
yeah,
actually."
you are
suck.
actually all just and you
Yeah.
guys all just are backstabbing
Yeah,
liars and
yeah.
thieves. Like, yep, you're even worse than us.
Yeah, that's
Greg
the
is
deal.
like the funniest character.
Yeah,
though.
he's
like,
he kind of
is-
makes it partly. I
Yeah,
think,
he is so funny. Yeah, it was a good show though. I like that show a lot.
We had a couple other topics. I just don't know. Maybe we want to wait for them. I don't
We
know.
can. There's one.
Okay.
Okay. You never go grocery shopping, do you?
I like couple times or once every 4 months I'll go to grab a couple things.
Okay.
So that's how often I
I
go.
always Walmart is on the complete opposite. Like, there's
Yeah.
very few people in town that can be in town and live farther from Walmart than me. Like,
Really, very hard.
it's a trip across town. So like, if I'm gonna go to Walmart and get groceries, that's probably getting close to being like an hour and a half, 2 hour thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's just a long time.
But do you ever do the pickup?
I
My
never
wife
do that
always
either.
does the pickup.
I know, and I just never take.
That's
the
a whole
time to do
different,
that. I don't mind
ex-
getting out of the house either,
Right.
like, and just doing
Yeah,
it.
it's a whole different thing, really.
Yeah, and
Like,
I probably get the groceries probably half of the time, maybe a little more than half the time. Yeah, it just depends. But we usually go to the locally owned place. It's closer.
we really have two locally owned places.
We do the closer one, I
Yeah,
should say,
yeah.
but it's closer. They have people that check out for you. You don't got to check your own stuff. It's usually not insane in there when you go. The service overall is pretty good, but you definitely pay more. There's no doubt about it. You pay more for sure. But when you only go to that place, you kind of get in your mind like what exists at a grocery store. So when you go to a different place, especially when it's Walmart, you're like, damn, the world of groceries. My vision of groceries is so small compared to what exists out there.
Yeah.
So it is always, because I mean, like, for real, if I go grocery shopping at Walmart once a year, I mean, that might
Okay,
be it. It's
okay.
like it's like a rarity for me to go
Yeah.
down those aisles. So it is the brands and varieties of products and things you see. It is surprising. But there was one item that stuck out to me. I always have Greek yogurt in the morning. You know,
Yeah.
a little way to get some more protein in.
Yep.
Most Greek yogurt is somewhere between like 12 and 15 grams of protein. I was surprised at Walmart. They had one. I cannot remember the name now. I don't know if it was like Ratio or something. It was something really generic sounding. But there was a yogurt with 25 grams of protein, which seemed like a lot to me. I mean, that's like a scoop of protein just about.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'll get this. It almost has to be bad, though. If it has like close to double what a lot of other things
Yeah.
have. I got it, and I got to say, I am pleasantly surprised. It's pretty damn good. So now all of a sudden, I'm like thinking in my head, I got to start planning like a weekly Walmart trip to get these yogurts to have these things stocked, because
I'd be
good
curious
protein
to
source,
see the
flavor's not bad either.
breakdown. Like, are they adding whey protein?
Yes, that is
Okay,
because I was like, how are they doing
yeah,
this?
they're adding whey
that was
protein
my,
to the.
That
yeah.
was I was totally wondering
Because
how
I think
are they
you
doing
can
this?
only. I mean, yogurt is what yogurt is.
Mm-hmm.
You can't like. They didn't invent the super yogurt to. They just
It's
added whey
somehow
protein.
like made of meat or
Right.
something. Yeah,
They just added more whey to the.
yep. And I thought for sure that would like kill. I assumed most things, bars and things like that, when there's a much larger amount of protein than the competitors.
Yep.
Yeah, you take a bite and you're like, yeah, you just put a bunch of protein in here. It's obvious. This one I didn't think so. I thought they did a pretty good job with it. So
is that a recommendation?
that is a recommendation from me.
Official recommendation.
Such a high recommendation that I can't even say what the name of the product was. Doesn't get much more glowing than that.
You know what else I would recommend to everyone? And I can say the name of the company and the products. SPUD Inc. SPUD-Inc-straps.com. And the specific products I wanted to tell you about today at SPUD Inc. are their gateway gear products. So they've got a few different things. I'm going to go in order here of what least supportive to most supportive. They've got the Squat Buddy. We've got a Squat Buddy at the gym. I've used the Squat Buddy before. It's pretty minimal. It's almost would compare it a little bit to like a slingshot of the lower body, but I think it actually even does a little less than that. Like it's pretty minimal. It goes around your hips. It's a band that goes around your hips. You might
It's
feel
just
a
like
little
a little buddy to
compressed.
say, hey, I'm here.
I'm here for you.
I'm not doing a ton, but I'm here.
I'm your buddy. So they've got the Squat Buddy, and then they've got their gateway briefs, the single ply and the 2-ply briefs, and we've got pairs of those around actually, and I've tried those before. The single ply gateway SPUD Inc briefs, I compare those a little bit to like if you've had like the warm pants before. They're a little bit like that, maybe just like 10% more than that is what I would say. And then the 2-ply gateway briefs would be a step above that. They're the same thing, only just much thicker. And those
we're talking.
Those do something.
Now you have a couple buddies.
Yeah, those are like a 10 Squat Buddy. Like those those feel noticeably different, and like those are the other ones have their purpose depending on what you want, but these are the ones that I would say for someone like me that never does any equip lifting, you try those on, you like maybe almost just barely start to get the feeling of what like wearing some of that actual equip lifting equipment feels like, that gear feels like. You get a little bit of that. That's what they are, and pretty affordable if you ever want to try them. All that stuff costs between like $60 and $90 depending on which one you buy, and if you spend over $75 or more, you get free shipping on all U.S. orders.
So just get them all.
Get them all. That's right. Get them all. SPUD-Inc-straps.com. Thanks, SPUD Inc. Is that all we want to do today? Is that
we had some other things, but I think we can save those for the next week.
I think that's good teasers. We've got.
I'm excited to talk about those other things.
Yeah, we're going to talk
fun points.
The
market at large.
A couple things here. Stocks and socks. Catchy thing to remember for next week.
The hottest growing segment.
Yes, stocks and socks.
About to be the hottest segment.
Yes. So stay tuned for that. Our stuff. Buy our stuff. We really never talk. Well, we talked with Bobby about the shirts he like. He wears the varsity tee a lot. We don't have that red varsity tee, but we do have what I'm wearing, the varsity script tee, which is kind of a la that similar similar feel a little bit. And this is the heather maroon. You're wearing the yellow Don't Curl in Me. He also really likes the 8-bit strongman tee, and if you're into that style, we also have the 8-bit powerlifting tee. And then we still have some of the Jonathan Oldham Daddy's Home tees and the flags that go along with that. The Drink Spotter, our classic lift shorts. We have a few pairs of lift shorts 2.0 left. The lift shorts 3.0 in most sizes are still available. And then we also have a large number of items that are on sale. No discount code needed. All you do is go under our shop on our website and click on the sale tab. And then there's at least like 10 different shirts in there that are all discounted 25% or more.
Yep. If you see your size, get it, because it's getting down to slim pickings.
And it's probably something that means we're not getting back anytime soon.
Yeah.
Because every time we'll sit on a shirt for 18 months, we'll finally sell out of it. A month later, someone will be like, "Oh, when are you
Not
getting
just
more
one
of that?"
person, multiple people.
I'll be like, "Really? Where were you the last year and a half?"
Yeah.
That always happens. So buy those now, and don't message like the day after they sell.
And don't be
like,
that guy.
Yeah, don't be that guy. Then become a supporting member. We talked about our supporting member, where there's several different options on our website where you can different price level options, but they all get you access to our Discord community where you can listen to the podcast episode live each week.
In the case of tonight, you found out who won the contest like
before
4 days
else.
before everyone else.
There's a discount code. We do random, not giveaways, but just like
there's perks.
There's perks.
Say.
Yeah, it's Perk City, right?
Mm-hmm. Friends with benefits,
yeah,
maybe.
Friends with benefits. That's what it's like. It's a really active community too. I don't know if we mentioned that. leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We're bumping up closer to, is it 500 that we're getting close to? 500 5-star reviews?
I honestly can't remember. The numbers start to sort of blend.
Yeah.
It could be 4.
There's a lot
it could
of
be
different
5.
things.
I know it's not 6, and I know it's not 3.
Okay.
So it's either 400 or 500. I don't know for sure.
Okay. Whatever it is, help us get it to that next one. And then subscribe to our YouTube channel. Help us get that number up a little bit. I know there's a lot of people that listen to don't subscribe to our YouTube channel, so go out and do that. Every episode goes out on YouTube, and then occasionally we might have other videos that pop up in there. Tommy, where do they find you at?
You could find me at Tomahawk_T.
You can follow me at Tanner_Baird, but nobody cares about that. Just make sure to follow Massenomics at Massenomics.
See ya.